Hi, in this video, we are going to learn about how API works, how to consume a third party API. So, before implementing directly into Salesforce, it is always recommended to test the API and understand how the API is behaving, how the API is sending the responses with any of the tools. That's what we are going to do in this video. So, the scenario, we need to list all the movie details which is available in a third party system, that is in a web service, and the endpoint for that API is given as https dummy api dot online slash api dot slash movies. The dummy api dot online is their web service. Inside the web service we have lot of web services. One such web service is slash api slash movies. So we are going to understand how an API works with a simple endpoint. This is a simple endpoint. And regarding the authentication, if you look at the endpoint type is open. It means that there is no security involved. You don't need any username and password to access this endpoint. There is no key involved, no auth to no such kind of authentication involved with this. So this is probably one of the best, endpoints. The open endpoints are one of the best endpoints for the beginners to understand how an API works. Are we going to implement in Salesforce now? No. We are going to test this API. How to test an API endpoint? To test an API endpoint, one of the very famous tool which is freely available is called POSTMAN. POSTMAN is a platform for building and testing APIs. So basically, what we will do in real time is, first, if any API we need to integrate, any third party system we need to integrate, first we will learn the documentation of that APIs. We will try to understand how to call an API, what are the data needs to be passed, what is the response type, all those things we will try to learn from the document. And after that, we will test it with the Postman. So once we got greater understanding on these things, then we will go ahead and implement in Salesforce. We are also going to follow the same pattern. So let me quickly show you the endpoint first. So this is a freely available endpoint. This API endpoints are available in the site called dummyapi.online. It has its own documentations also. The documentation tells how to call the API and what are the responses coming from the API. Everything is available. It has a lot of free APIs available. For example, we are going to list all the movies. So we will be using API slash movies. Similarly, we can list the users, we can list products, and we can, list to-dos. So a lot of API endpoints are available. For this particular video, we are going to use movies API endpoint to see how the response is coming from your third-party system. Since it's a basic endpoint, open endpoint, we can easily see this by simply hitting the endpoint in the browser itself. For example, let me try to open it in a new tab. If I open it in a new tab, see here, this is the response coming from the endpoint. I'm hitting this endpoint. This endpoint list out the list of movies back. So the response is coming as list of movies. Since it's a very basic endpoint, you can hit it directly from your browser also. But in real time, we might be, consuming the endpoints with a lot of securities involved there. So always Postman is a good tool to use. How to use Postman? Postman comes in two flavors. One is Postman can be installed in the local machine, or Postman can be used in web format also, as a website also. So we have a website called postman.com. I'm going to use a web version. So I'm coming to the browser and trying to hit postman.com. It will take me to the Postman site. And after opening the home page, we need to click sign in. You can create an account, but I'm going to use Google account to do that. If you are going to use the Google account, then at the bottom you have an option called sign in with Google. And I'm going to click sign in with Google. It will take me to the sign in page, and it will ask me to enter my username and password. Gmail username and password. I'm going to enter my Gmail account username, and I'm going to enter the Gmail password also. So once I entered the username and password, if I click next, my authentication will be verified, and my authentication is coming to my mobile, and I have a two-factor authentication. So that's why coming into my mobile, and I need to allow it, right? So I need to open the Gmail, and I have to click it, right? So it is sending it a notification to my iPad, and I need to check that. I'm going to use another way. And another way is, let me try to get a verification code. Okay, I'm going to use my mobile to get the verification code, and it is going to send a verification code to my mobile. So I'm going to use that. Okay, so let's wait for that. Let's wait for the verification code to be received. Once I receive the verification code, then I will enter it. Okay, and still I am waiting for the verification code. I haven't received any verification code so far. Okay, I'm going to try another way. So I'm going to use try another way and get a call. Okay, let me see. I'm able to receive it. And let me click send. Okay. Yes, I got it. This time I'm going to enter. So it's always good to keep mobile, besides you, so that, first time when we are trying to use the username and password, Gmail account username and password with with this site, probably they will ask you to validate, right? So you need to give the authorization needs to be completed. So I'm done with this. So it should take me to the site again, right? It is taking me to Postman. So first time when we are doing it, it's always good to keep your different way of authentication devices. If it is a two-factor authentication, it's good to keep. Most of the times you'll be using the mobile, right? It's good to keep it next to you. I'm accessing these in a incognito window. So since I'm using it in incognito window, it is asking me to enter the username and password and then verification also. Once everything is done, we are good to use it. And first, you can simply go for workspaces, and I'm going to use workspaces. This is my workspace. Okay. So it's very simple, straightforward. You need to hit the endpoint, and this is my endpoint, right? This is my endpoint. It's an open endpoint. I'm coming to the Postman, and here you can see there is a plus icon, right? See here, there is a plus icon. I'm going to click the plus icon. It means that I'm going to make a new request to the endpoint. So we have learned in our previous videos different type of endpoint methods. If you are going to hit an endpoint, you can use a get, you can use a post, you can use put, right? This endpoint we are going to access using get method. So that's why the method I'm going to select as get. You can use post, put, patch, delete, different type of methods are available. We are going to use only the get. Okay, because we are going to fetch the data. If you are going to fetch information from your third-party web service or from your third-party endpoint, fetching or retrieving the information will always work with the get method of API, right? API get method. So that's why the method is get. I'm giving the complete endpoint here, and you can see a lot of configuration options available here, right? So let me explain these configuration options one by one. So first one is parameter. If you want to pass any data, then the data passed here through the endpoint address, you are going to pass something, then you will be using parameters. Authorization, whether this endpoint has any username or password or any key, no, nothing is there, right? So I'm going to use the authorization type as no auth. Okay. And headers, if there is any authorization involved, let's say for example this endpoint is a key based endpoint, then we will be passing the keys under the headers. In the upcoming videos we will be seeing how to use headers. And body, let's say you want to create a new record. If you want to create a new record, then you will be sending the record details, movie details through the body, right? We are not going to pass anything because we are going to fetch the information. So I'm leaving it as it is. So that's it. This is the most commonly used configuration tabs you will be using in Postman. And once I click send, this request will be sent to the dummy API.online API services, and it will return the responses back to Postman. The responses you can see at the bottom. The responses can be seen below, right? The responses can be seen below. Keep an eye on here. I'm going to hit the button send. Once I click send, the request will be sent to the third party endpoint. You will see there is a progress bar, and after that you will be receiving the responses, right? See there, you got the responses back. So in the previous video, we have learned whenever you are hitting the endpoint will return a status code. See here, this is the status code we have received. What is the status code? The status code is 200 OK. It means that the request we made here, right? It was success. So if a request was success, the web services or the API endpoint will give you a response status code called 200 OK. And what about the list of movies? The list of movies are returned here. See, the list of movies returned by the web service, right? So it is returned in a array format. Why I am saying that the response is written in an array format? If you have a close look at here, this is a square bracket, right? This is a square bracket. Inside the square bracket, each and every movie information is returned as an object. It has a key, it has a value. It has a key, it has a value. So one movie information is one object. Next, one object, one object. So it is a list of objects it is returning. Each and every object consists of a movie information. This object itself will have a key and value. We will be seeing how to consume this data in Salesforce. At that point of time, we will discuss about this data structure more. So the key point here is step one, go to Postman and create a new request by clicking the plus button. Select the respective API method and then give the endpoint name here. If any authorization or headers or body needs to be passed, fill those information, and after that click the send. Once you click the send, confirm that the response is 200 OK. If the response is 200 OK, to understand in what format the data is being sent, you can visit this particular part, right? This will list you the list of movies here, right? If you see here, you are seeing a list of movies returned, right? See here, there are a lot of movie informations being returned back. So it's pretty simple, right? So this is the best way to test an API, how it is working, how it is sending the responses back. So after understanding all this information, we will be go ahead and implement in Salesforce. So let me quickly go to presentation. So we have understood how to use a Postman to hit a open endpoint. So I have shared the screenshot here. 1, 2, 3, 4. These informations are, the order in which we have to hit an endpoint. What are the actions I need to perform is shared in this presentation. So this API works by sending a request to the endpoint, and from the endpoint the response is coming back. Instead of Salesforce, we have used Postman here. In the next video, we will be replacing Postman with Salesforce. It means that from Salesforce, we will be sending a request. The request consists of method, if required headers, if required body, and then the endpoint will send the response along with status code and the data in JSON format back. So I'm giving you a DIY. Please visit this website, read the document, and try to hit the endpoint using Postman and get a hands-on on how to use Postman.
If you are interested to learn Salesforce, visit AJ Skill Development website. There you can find our course curriculum and you can come to know about the list of courses we are offering. We are offering Salesforce Administrator and Salesforce development courses. To know about us and the team, you can visit our About Us section. This is an organization we are doing Salesforce training from 2018, and we have trained and guided 2000 plus candidates so far. And if you also want to know about our placement assistants, visit our placement assistance section, where you can find the list of people and the category. You can see the list of people who got trained and placed from our side. You can also visit their LinkedIn pages to get to know about our training and also the feedback from the relevant trainees. Okay. And also, if you want to do the course inquiry, click on contact us. You will see the form. You can fill the form and submit the inquiry. Our team will get back to us. Thank you.